Here with Paula. She is the founder of The Hitting Stops Here.
That's correct.
Paula, it's
Yes.
really great to be here with you, hanging out in Hawaii.
Thank you.
Please tell me a little bit about your organization, The Hitting Stops Here.
Well, The Hitting Stops Here was founded September 11th, 2006.
What a date to
What
be
a
founded.
date.
Okay,
Yes.
2006.
Yes.
So that was 5 years after the day.
The day that the buildings were hit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And this was the day that I personally witnessed American school children being hit and mistreated in all kinds of ways in a U.S. paddling state.
Now, this was you, with your very own eyes,
Yes.
witnessing in the United States abuse of our children.
Yes. Yes.
Tell me a little bit about that.
Well, that was in Savannah, Georgia. And I had taken on a substitute teacher position.
Yes.
And my first day of school, what I witnessed had me in tears at the end of the day. I've never seen teachers handle little 9 and 10-year-old kids or any age the way I witnessed that day. Teachers hitting kids and yanking and screaming. And
This is the first day of school?
for me, it was. It was actually the first week of school. I started in as a substitute teacher on September 11th.
Okay.
And so on my first day in this particular school, that's what I witnessed.
And that's the first time you had ever seen anything like that?
Anything like that.
Now, you've been a teacher for some time, right?
At that point, 26 years.
26 years and you've never seen anything like
Never.
this?
Never.
You go to Georgia, you're in the first week of your substitute teaching?
Yes.
Is that what it is, substitute teaching?
Yes.
And you witness something like this?
Yes. Yeah. And that was, for me, the day The Hitting Stops Here began, because I actually thought it was just the handful of teachers that I observed that day.
Yes.
And through trying to bring justice about for these few children that I watched receive this sort of treatment, it turned out that there were 21 U.S. states at that time that still allowed this sort of mistreatment of children. And I began...
Now, this was totally physical abuse.
Yes, physical and verbal.
They're yelling at the children. They're grabbing the children. They're hitting the children.
Yes. Yes.
In a public school.
Yes. And all that...
Is this just like random, or is there a reason for them doing this?
It was the way they felt they needed to discipline these children. It was what they believed was the way to do it. And so this was, at that time, 21 U.S. states were doing it. Since this campaign has begun, Ohio has banned and New Mexico has banned, as a result of myself and other organizations of child advocates working to have this banned. And we presently have a federal bill in Congress, in the 112th present Congress.
Yes. And
it's called Ending Corporal Punishment in Schools Act, HR 3027.
Now, why should the average parent be concerned about this? Because a lot of parents feel like, hey, the teachers need to, handle these kids.
Yeah,
why does the average parent need to be concerned about this bill?
Well, for one thing, there is a lot of conclusive evidence that it is done in a way where the primary targets are black and brown children and children with disabilities such as autism, children who are nonverbal. Most of the children receiving this are children whose parents cannot afford a lawyer, who are inarticulate, who have gone through this themselves. So it's hidden from the public. It's not published on news. The average American is unaware that this is even going on in America.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay, so how successful, I have a list of questions here for you.
Sure.
As I'm referring to this list. How successful has it been in reaching your goals at this point?
You know, for us to have had 2 states banned, and let me tell you,
as a direct result of your efforts,
I would say combined, I had not heard of it, and I do not recall any on-the-ground action prior to The Hitting Stops Here. The Hitting Stops Here has actually done over 40 campaigns. Tennessee, Mississippi, Texas, Georgia.
Wow.
we've been to a
And
number
you've
of
traveled to
states.
all these states to get this done?
Yes, yes.
You
yes.
have really invested yourself into this.
I have.
So
And
this campaign, out of all the states you've been to, 2 states have banned it
exactly.
so far.
Yes.
And you're working to get another, how many states?
Well, there are 19 remaining
Okay.
states, and we have this bill in that will actually ban it. We
On the federal level?
On the federal level.
Okay.
It will make beating children with wooden boards, the same exact style with the holes drilled through and everything, that were used on slaves on old slave masters' plantations during that era of the U.S. history.
So this is really a necessary thing.
Well, if we want our children to be growing up and learn how to solve problems without hurting others, absolutely.
Okay, so my next question for you is this your focus on banning corporal punishment, and that is it? Is there anything in addition to what you're doing right now?
Well, there are several things going on at this juncture, okay? The news reporters, CNN, Fox, ABC, these major news media are failing to inform America that this is going on. Okay. What people are hearing are separate incidents. Oh, a teacher killed a kid, in fact, last week.
What?
A child, this
died from corporal punishment?
We have lists of hundreds of children who die in American classrooms, some directly in front of their classmates.
From corporal punishment?
From
teachers
punishment.
Abusing that child with a paddle, shaking or hitting?
Shaking, hitting, tying up with duct tape, ropes, bungee cords, suffocating them.
It is absolutely hard to believe that that's happening in America in this day and age.
You know something? I would like to invite our listeners to take a look at our website. First of all, it's the www.thehittingstopshere.com.
Go ahead. Talk directly to them. Let them know this.
When you go to our homepage, you're going to see a picture of President Obama. And if you look right below President Obama's photograph, you're going to see 3 recent professionally developed reports on what's going on in American schools.
Now, in this day of iPhones and, like you can just take a picture of it right there in the classroom, some of these kids have probably shot the thing live.
Well, they have done that, but sadly enough, a lot of schools are telling kids that they cannot have their cell phones so that they won't get the pictures. Right. Last year, a teacher tied a student to a fence, and he was there all day in the hot sun. And a student was taking a photograph and was suspended. And they were told, you cannot. And that school, since that point, has made it illegal for children to bring their cell phones. If they do bring them, they better not be on, because they are prohibiting them from videotaping teachers abusing American school children.
You know, what you're telling me, Paula, is totally something totally new. I've never heard of it before.
Well,
it's something really new.
It is, and I want to just back up just for our listeners. When you go to our website, The Hitting Stops Here, again, and see President Obama's photograph, below those reports, I would like to ask everybody just to read the first 3 pages only. There's one that's 60 pages long, there's another about 125.
Well, now I understand the word only.
Certain people, no, I would like everybody to read them through, but it wouldn't take more than reading the first 3 pages of each one for any American adult to see there is a huge problem of abuse and murder going on in our American schools.
Totally unbelievable in this society where somebody can so easily be sued by an individual.
Except teachers. Teachers are protected by our U.S. government. They allow this to happen. And if a parent did the same exact thing, they can go to jail and their child could be put in a home.
If a parent beats a child to death, they're going to be in trouble. Right. If a teacher, this is what you're telling me, Paula, that if a teacher beats a child to death, they're protected by some sort of law?
And it has happened. And in fact, one of the reports, when you go to our website and you look, there's one report, just has the letters GAO. If you click on that report and read pages 15 through 17, you will actually read about a teacher who actually suffocated a special ed boy in front of the classroom and was able to go on and teach in Virginia and finish out the school year.
They can go to your website, which is Your
the
website?
Hitting Stops
This
here,
year.
www.thehittingstopshere.com.
And they can go to where to read that?
Well, right on the home page.
Okay.
You scroll down and you'll see a photograph of President Barack Obama.
And
below that,
yeah.
you'll see 3 professional reports, the GAO report, the ACLU report, and the UC Davis report.
Well, that I believe, Paula, is enough right there
Yes.
to make a person say, pause,
Yes.
Stop, and say, I need to get active in this thing going on. Sorry about that. We're outside. We're hanging around in Honolulu. We're outside doing an interview, just kind of casual.
Mm-hmm.
Paula.
Yes.
I know you have other things on your agenda, too.
Yes, I do.
One thing is called the Learning Center. And I want to ask you about this place. Mm-hmm. Okay. The Learning Center. What can people do who are interested in supporting the Learning Place?
Well, first of all, the Learning Place is going to be a community open house for people in Waimanalo and any other part of the island. It just happens to be in Waimanalo.
I've seen that. I've seen that on a bumper sticker. New York, London, Paris,
Waimanalo. That's right. That's right. And right there in Waimanalo, we are building a place called the Learning Place.
Okay.
And it's open to children. It's open to adults. One of our priorities of the Learning Place is to help children who are dropping out of school.
Okay.
And we want to help them get their GED. Yes. We want to help them learn how to fill out forms for grants or financial aid and get them into a college.
Okay.
And so that's one of our goals at the Learning Place.
So the Learning Center is a place to learn.
It is. It is.
So you named it appropriately.
Yeah.
Okay. And if they want to support legislative work, I noticed that was part of the learning system of the Hitting Stops here, what can they do?
Okay, right now, we're very excited, once again, to tell everybody that we do have a bill. The bill number is H.R. 3027.
Did you look at the camera and say that?
I did look at the camera and say that.
Could you do that again?
It's called Ending Corporal Punishment in Schools Act, and the bill number is H.R. 3027.
Okay, so you got that. Give them a minute to write this down. H.R.
3027.
There it is. Just jot that down, and we'll continue with the interview now.
Yes.
So that bill is. Tell me about that bill for just a minute.
Okay. Well,
and
first of all,
why somebody would do that?
Yes. Well, New York Representative Carolyn McCarthy.
Yes.
This is a woman. She's a congressional leader in, I believe it's the 4th District of New York, and she introduced this bill September 22nd, 2011.
Okay, so just another 10 days after September 11th.
Yes, another September event.
Okay.
It's sad, but her husband and her son were both attacked, so to speak, by 2 young adults who were themselves victims of child abuse. Her husband ended up dying as a result. It was in a New York City subway.
Wow.
They opened fire. The husband died. The son was paralyzed temporarily. Fortunately, from what I last heard, he actually regained his ability to walk.
Okay.
And so here we have a woman who has compassion on human beings, children, because it is clear when you abuse children, they can turn out to become abusers. Not all of them, but there's enough evidence that quite a few do.
Okay.
And so she had the compassion to say, we need gun laws, we need to have ways of handling issues that set examples for children, and guns and violence not the way. Right. And so we actually asked Marc Ecko. He's the entrepreneur of Ecko Unlimited Products. He's an awesome man. Yes. I see lots of Ecko Unlimited products walking around this island. People love Marc Ecko. But the thing is that he supported our having her introduce the bill. She introduced it in 2010, and then we did not rally enough support from the American public. Okay. And partly that was because our major media failed to let the American people know that this bill is out there, just like they're failing to do with H.R. 3027. Okay. And so, as a result, that bill died. She introduced it again, and New York Representative Carolyn McCarthy, she is a dear woman. She is trying to get more gun laws. She's trying to have our children protected, and she's receiving almost no support from any legislators or any members of the United States Education Committee. She introduced this bill September 11th to a group of 39 U.S. Education Committee members. Out of 39, only 4 have signed it, including her.
Is there a way, because the people are the ones that help to make this get done.
Yes.
Is there anything short of calling, emailing, and getting representatives that besides just Carol McCarthy, to get them active on these lines?
Well, I'll tell you one thing that people could do, particularly here in Hawaii. Mazie Hirono, Representative Mazie Hirono, is on the U.S. Education Committee. This is the Aloha State. I honestly believe if people were to call Mazie Hirono and say, hey, first of all, we didn't know about the bill, but now that we do, would you sign it? You don't allow teachers to beat kids on the island of Oahu.
Yes.
As a matter of fact, the reason it was banned here in 1972 actually was as resulted from a tragedy when a teacher paddled a student, causing great damage to that child.
Okay.
That was why it was banned. Governor Burns in 1972 banned that practice here.
Excellent.
So Hawaii was the 3rd state out of 31 to ban. So good for Hawaii.
Well, good for Hawaii.
Good for Hawaii.
We're good on one of those parts.
Yes, but that's one thing, is to have Mazie Hirono get on board and sign it. We believe if Mazie Hirono signs the bill, that it may spur a domino effect.
Okay.
Dan Inouye, Senator Dan Inouye, the big honcho in the Senate. I mean, he's senior pro tempore. And once it gets to the Senate, we want him to support it. Again, Aloha State. We can set the example for the mainland.
So again, Paula, what is that one step that our audience out here who's watching this can actually take to make a difference?
Okay. Step number 1, go to our website. And when you go to our website, you'll see a message right below our mission statement. It says how to help.
There we have it. You're going to go to Paula's website. You're going to see right below the mission statement, how to help.
That's right.
And what are they going to do after that,
They're
Paula?
going to click on that, and it opens up, and it has all of the legislators in the Education Committee, on the Education Committee. And they have their email addresses. There's a sample message, copy, paste, click, send.
So you've set this up
frequently,
to be very easy.
I've made it very easy.
So the person can just simply, anybody out here, can simply go to the website, find that text, copy it, paste it into an email to that representative, and click send. And they've done a lot to help this project move forward.
Absolutely, absolutely. And the other thing, too, is Representative John Kline. John Kline, I have contacted his office repeatedly. He is the chairman of the United States Education and Workforce Committee. He is the #1 person in our, Congress who can just force this issue to the floor. This is not about, now, we have 39 Education Committee members and 4 have signed, and you need 1 more than half. So we actually need 20 signatures. So we have 4, we need 16. But we don't really need that. We could just have John Kline say, hey, we are the Education Committee. We want American school children protected from sanctioned assault and battery and being tied up and put into small crawl spaces and all this stuff going on in our schools. He can do that.
On a federal level?
On a federal level. And then once
so
he
that
forces
one
it to
person,
the floor, yes, John Kline
can make a bit of, now, do you have his email
Yes.
on his
Absolutely.
John Kline's email is on her website. This
Right
one
there.
man who can make a big difference without having to go to a lot of other different representatives, but one man, John Kline, can make a difference right here for you. It's a very simple action that you can take to make a difference help our school children be safe when they go to school, so they're not beaten.
Exactly.
So John Kline, copy.
Yes, what they can do is right there also where it says how to help. When they click on that, there's just John Kline, there's George Miller. George Miller allowed this to go on his entire time as a chairman, and now we lost the he lost his position to John Kline because the Republicans have the House now, and so John Kline, who is new at this, but not new at understanding human nature, that children need protection.
Yes.
And like I said, we're talking this is ultra bullying, because we're talking, number one, adults hitting children.
Yes.
And to compound that, children who are disadvantaged, poor whites, poor black and brown, Native American, Latino, and children with autism, particularly those with no verbal language.
Okay, Paula.
That's who's getting it.
I really appreciate you taking this time.
Yes.
I'm sure that our audience is very happy to have taken this time. We've talked about the learning system.
The learning place. The learning place, yes.
We've talked about stop hitting. We've talked about your website and what individuals can do to make a difference. Did you want to add anything here at the end of this interview?
Yes, I would like to let everybody know that we do have enough time for HR 3027 to become federal law in 2012. And we believe that if this bill were to become law, that it will change this country. Because when you protect children, you're actually protecting the future of this country.
Well said.
Yes, and when you are abusing them, you are creating violence for the future of this country.
That's right.
And I think we all want peace.
Yes.
I think the average well-nurtured person wants a peaceful nature.
Yes.
And if I could have one request out there,
yes,
I would want people to contact me at info@thehittingstopshere.com.
Info@thehittingstopshere.com.
Yes. And say, Paula, I want to help. What can I do?
Okay. And when they contact you at info, the hitting stops here. That's like an email address.
Yes.
That you can then respond to.
Yes.
And the kind of work that you can do is then just keep them in the loop of what's happening.
Yes.
And there's certain events that I know that you have from time to time.
Yeah.
That allow them to participate.
Exactly.
And I know this is kind of off the cuff, but there's kind of like a fun one coming up soon.
There is a fun one coming up, and we want to invite everybody on the mainland to fly on over here to Hawaii. We are going to be circling the Hawaii State Capitol building 19 times in the month of April.
Yes.
And that is to represent each state where teachers are still sanctioned to beat our children. And it will begin at 10/19, April 19th. We'll go around 19 times.
Yes.
We will be giving out leaflets and information and interviewing people and asking them to call Representative John Kline and say, please co-sponsor HR 3027 and ask the remainder of your education committee to do the same.
So, listeners, if you have a bike and you like to get out and bike, there is no better time than to come out, and that date is?
April 19th.
April 19th at?
10:19 a.m. And it's a Thursday, by the way.
And we will have so many bikers out there going around the state capitol, just circling the capitol. How many times are we going to circle?
19 times.
19
One
times.
for every state where children are still sanctioned for beatings.